Hi guys, I'm here, I'm live. Welcome to Tyles' first live Facebook video. So bear with me, I'm a little nervous, it's my first time. To introduce you guys to Tyles that may not know a lot about the product yet, Tyles is a completely unique cut vinyl product. It's the same material as maybe a high-end wall decal, but it's imagined in a completely different way. And I originally came up with Tyles for my own kitchen backsplash a number of years ago, not as a product, just for our own house. And ever since then, it's blossomed into a full line. We have about 32 patterns now and growing. And yeah, things are great. So to show you a little bit about how tiles come first before we start our demo, this is how a package would arrive to you if you were to order a set of tiles. So there are 12 tiles to a set. It comes with instructions, it comes with a little note from me, and it also comes with this handy dandy tool that you will need to put your tiles on your wall, okay? And about everything you need is in the package. The only things left I'll show you here today are a few things that you probably have around your house, and if not, they're really easy to grab. So let's get started. I'm just gonna put this down. Okay, so this is a corner of my house. That's not that exciting right now, and that's sort of the point. I like to put up tiles around my house. I do actually have them up as decor in various parts of our home, and I've also used my home for sampling and for videos and for photographs before. But for this corner, you can barely see it, but we've added in this cute little coffee bar cart in the corner. And I have posted a few pictures of it before on social media. And I'm really excited about the bar cart. We love our coffee. But now this corner looks really bare. And I thought, hey, I could use some tiles in there. So I thought I'd do it live on video because I'm crazy. And because I thought that it would be great to show you guys that have been asking me questions exactly how tiles work and how they would go up on your wall. It's a good opportunity to show you how to do it in my own home so you know that I do indeed live with these things and I love them as much as I say I do. All right, so these are the blue walls in our dining space, and you might be able to see it on the video, but I've already put up a level line to where I want the tiles pattern to start today. And it's just put up with pencil. I used a level and just put up a pencil mark. You can actually just erase off the pencil after you're done, or wash it off with some sort of cleaner, I'm sure. But it's really easy to use that and then to put the tiles up on top of it. We're only gonna go with a single package of tiles today for this treatment, so you can see how versatile they are. You can just do them in a very small part of the wall and it can totally change the look of the space. You don't need a lot to really make a big impact. So I have some of my tiles here, and a few of them are ready to go. I'm gonna start with one of these ones that I already have blue tape on. Now, blue painter's tape, you probably already have it in your house. That's gonna be one of the key components to helping you put up your tiles, especially when you're trying to figure out exactly where they should go, how they're gonna fit together. It's great because it's not gonna pull the paint off your wall. So stick it up here when you're trying to figure out the exact placement of where you want them to be. And yesterday, this is what I did. I put up a couple here and here, and we figured out that this would be the perfect height for our space and what we wanted to achieve. So when you're done with that, you can just take it down, put up your level line once you figured it out, and then you're gonna pull the backing off of your tiles. And tiles are sort of, they're sort of like a sandwich. So there's a back part, a front part, and then the pattern is in the center. Okay, so there is no background. There's nothing to compete with your walls. So your walls are your background. So the color of your surface totally changes the way the pattern looks on your wall, your door, your window, whatever the case may be. So I'm just gonna pull off the backing, and you'll see that it usually comes off very, very easily. Super easy, done. If you have any trouble, if you've ordered a set of tiles and you've let them sit for a few months because you never got around to your project, and then when you're pulling off the backing, it doesn't come off as easily, maybe the tiles want to stick to the backing, that's okay. That's totally normal. It doesn't mean the vinyl isn't going to work. It doesn't mean that the stickiness doesn't work anymore either. It really just means that the three pieces of the sandwich have stuck together for a little too long. So all you got to do is take your palette knife that we sent to you, okay, and you just smooth it down on top of the front transfer tape, and it should help the tiles stick back to the transfer tape that's on the front, and then you should be a lot easier, or rather it should be a lot easier to pull off the backing, okay? But this came off the way it should today, so we're just gonna go with that. So as you can see, the transfer tape is clear, and that helps. We did that specifically so that everybody can see where they're placing their tiles on their wall. So you wanna line it up on your level line and as close to your corner as you can get. And you want to wait until you have it fairly even before you start to actually smooth it down. At this point, it's pretty easy to pick back up the transfer tape and maneuver it, push it around. Maybe I can do that with another piece when I'm demoing today. But once they're on your wall, they're not going to be repositionable, and the reason for that is because they're cut, so they're really small pieces. It's not like one big long piece of vinyl as you might see in some, you know, maybe a wall mural that's made out of vinyl, and you can take it off and then put it down somewhere else. Because this is cut vinyl, it will actually warp the vinyl and bend it out of shape, so it's not really going to be reusable. But you can, while you're still working with this here, you can sort of pick up the front transfer tape and maneuver it and move it over. And if you do make a mistake while you're actually putting the vinyl down itself or pulling the transfer tape off, you can smooth it back down, and that'll work too. You just don't want to pull off a full piece and then try and put it back down again. So we always suggest ordering a little extra. If it comes in perfectly for your space that you need, say 3 sets of tiles, order 4, just in case. We can all make mistakes. We can cut badly. We can put it down wrong. Everything can be crooked, you know, whatever the case may be. So, so you just want to have a little extra just in case you've gone a little awry. But right now, we're just gonna put this down and take off the front transfer tape and show you how easy it is. So what you're gonna do is you're gonna take your tool and you're gonna smooth it down from the top down, okay, and then the top over and out, okay? You're gonna wanna make sure you get down all the sides and use a little bit of force. If somebody put you in a bad mood that day, that's the perfect time to get your anger out. Just get in there. You're not gonna damage your walls by using a little bit of extra force on your palette knife. It's fine. You just want to make sure that the vinyl is now going to stick to your wall instead of your transfer tape, okay? Okay, and then this is the important part. The quickest way to do this from here on out is to pull up from a corner at an angle and keep the transfer tape close to the wall. This is my trick. This is how I get this done fastest without pulling the vinyl up from the bottom. And if you do pull the vinyl up with the transfer tape, it's a little easier to correct it if you do it this way, okay? So you just gotta find a corner, pull up, and you're only pulling up the clear transfer tape at this point, okay? And you're gonna keep it super close to the wall. You can see my thumb is pressing down, and you're gonna start to pull it up. Now, if it sticks, that's okay. Use your other hand, smooth it back down. or rub it back into the wall and pull up again. And you're going to want to be really close to the wall here on this. See? This helps to keep it down on the wall as you're pulling up. I hope watching pulling up of transfer tape isn't like watching paint dry. It might be. Feel free to sing a song, do a dance. My singing days are over, so that's not gonna happen. Okay, and you can see, like, we have this piece here it wants to like just pop back up. That's okay. Just roll it back down with your finger, no big deal. And like I said, part of this may be because these are not the newest pieces of vinyl. I've had these in my house for a little while, so everything just sort of wants to stick together. And that's all right. It still works, and it won't come off your wall. And it's good to have faux pas in real life happening on a video because you can see that everything is sort of fixable and everything still works just fine. A key component to being able to put this all up successfully is a clean surface, and if it's a painted surface, we recommend that you use eggshell or higher of a finish. So no matte paint, or flat paint, I should say, because flat paint and primer are very similar and they will pull up. I mean, they'll pull off the wall for blue painter's tape sometimes. And I've put tiles up on surfaces like that for trade shows, and I've had the hardest time pulling things up, including the blue painter's tape, without doing damage to your wall. So, you know, this is not it's not a tiles only problem, but you want to just have the best surface possible. And we want you to cure the wall for at least 2 weeks before you put up your tiles, okay? So you want to make sure the paint is totally cured. You know, paint dries in like 2 days, but then it's not fully, completely dry for a while yet. So you want to make sure that it's totally done and it's adhered to the wall and it's not going to come off. Also that they're not going to stick together too much so that when you pull off your tiles, it actually does damage to your paint. You don't want that to happen, okay? So you want these to go up on a fully cured surface. And if you've had paint up for a while like I have, then you're gonna wanna clean your walls before you put them up. So just use a little bit of any sort of cleaning spray, preferably one that doesn't leave any sort of residue, and then your walls will be good to go. You don't want dust or anything like that on there. But as you can see, this is now up on the wall as I talk over it. And the pattern will exist there for as long as you want it, okay? So this is up in the corner. There are a couple of like little flaws in the wall here and there. No walls are completely, totally smooth everywhere, right? We have a little bit of, you know, paint texture on here. Some people have plaster walls. Actually, this is plaster and painted over plaster, and so this is going to give you a little bit of a texture on it. That's okay, as long as it's not too textured. Obviously, you can't put it on any sort of, you know, fully textured, very bumpy surface. No stucco or anything like that. As long as it's a mostly smooth surface, you should be fine. And the vinyl will go over any sort of small flaws that you have anyway, and it'll all blend in. So yeah, so we have this corner up, which is great, and I'm gonna do this other corner here, and then if by any chance it turns out that this has taken a little longer than we'd like, then what I'll do is I'll finish off the job and take some photos to show you guys how it actually wound up turning out. Okay, so the next one is going up, and I'm gonna just do the same thing as I did before. My laptop that I have out here is not updating me with the live video. So if you guys are tuning in, just let me know by liking it or commenting, and I promise I'll answer all your comments and questions later. I'm trying to think of my more common questions now so that we don't have too much to answer later. But yeah, I know that a lot of people ask me where the patterns come from. These days I'm doing some blog posts on where I get my inspiration from. A lot of it you'll find comes from common tile themes or places where tile is usually used. A lot of the inspiration comes from Morocco. My husband and I were there 12 years ago on our honeymoon, and I just fell in love with the beauty that was everywhere, and that has been there for centuries now. And so I pull a lot from that. I'm sure you could see a little bit of my background in the house, but we have a lot of pattern up in the house. I really love color. I really love pattern. And I'm actually doing, or rather I did, my latest blog post on this particular pattern. And I was inspired by, oddly enough, cladograms, which I know most people are like, what the heck is a cladogram? Because that was what, I didn't know what a cladogram was either. But at the Museum of Natural History in New York City, we go there often actually, and one day when we were there with our kids, we're watching the video they have up by the dinosaurs on evolution, and they used a cladogram in the video, and I was like, that's a cool, that's a great way of charting something, visually speaking. I just liked the idea of everything stemming from one spot and going up. And it also feels, looking at a cladogram also feels a little bit like a subway map to me. And so the two things sort of came together when I was doing my line last year, which is all about urban areas and diversity and where everybody comes from and all of that. And so that all just seemed to be perfect. And this came together for that and wound up sort of coming into a really great Art Deco pattern, which I didn't know it was going to happen. And that's kind of the magic of these things. I draw them out and then I see where they go. And so this is where that went. It's actually one of my favorite patterns. All right, so final number 2. Once again, I'm going to find that level line. And we're going to put it up right on that line at top. Smooth it out with your hand. And then smooth out any air bubbles with your tool. And air bubbles happen. This is vinyl. Make sure that you get everything, especially the corners, because those are the parts that pull up first. And then we'll pull up the rest of the vinyl, as you saw in the last piece. So you want to try your best to get down the corners. Don't get distracted by talking on a live video and then screw that up, because then you have the problem that you had before. So, but yeah, I mean, to discuss this part, a lot of people ask if this takes a while to put up, and the answer is maybe. Depends on the pattern itself, and depends on how many little corners you have to put up with it. But I mean, I'm not gonna lie, it's a little bit of a project. If you have a small area, obviously it'll go really fast, and you can have this all done in an hour. You could have totally changed your space. If you want to do a full wall, it'll take a little bit more time, maybe a little bit more manpower. It depends on what kind of person you are. If you have a friend or a spouse that will help you out. But we also do this in sheets rather than the small squares. If you are having a professional put it up instead, because professional hangers, they won't want to do this. This will drive them nuts. So a lot of times our interior designers that hire us out ask us for larger sheets rather than the smaller 8x8 squares that these come in. And really the 8x8 squares were made for your average person, me, and anybody else that is not a professional hanger. Because frankly, the first set of tiles that were done for our kitchen, I had done in big sheets. And it was an impossible task for me. It got away from me so fast. I had to cut it up into different sizes so that I could hang it all together. And it was just a total mess. And that just, of course, ate away more of my time. The 8x8 squares make it a lot easier to plot out your space. It makes it a lot easier to control any mistakes that you might make, or just to do like a nice small little area. It's so much easier to do it with the small pieces rather than a big sheet that you may have to cut up. So, all right, I'm just gonna give this one more good go at the edges. All right, let's see how this did. This time we're gonna go from the top down instead. Just to show you, it doesn't really matter which corner you use as long as you just have grabbed a corner. See, yeah, this goes a lot faster when you actually pay attention to putting it down right. So, done. Super fast, way easier that way, right? And look at how cool that looks, right? In the corner. I mean, doesn't that look, I mean, is it wrong to really like my own stuff? It might be, I don't know. But I think it's kind of great. And you don't need anything else. You don't need any wallpaper paste. You don't need any, you're not doing actual tiles. So you're not doing grout. You're not doing, any sort of laying down. You don't have to cut with any major tools. All you need is, some scissors, the tool that you get included in your set, a pencil and a level, and that's kind of it, right? And maybe some blue tape. But it just really just goes so far. And the point to all of this, the point to doing tiles in the first place was that I wanted to do something for my own home that wasn't faux, because I don't, I don't think that faux is sort of the way to go, at least not for me. And of course that's a personal choice, but I think that you could do such great stuff that's different and pulls inspiration from different things. And even if you can't do that actual material, such as actual tile, as we couldn't at the time for our backsplash because we ran out of time and money, then I didn't want to do, fake tile. Where somebody went up to my wall one day and went, oh, that's such lovely tile. Oh, that's not tile. No, I didn't want that at all. I just wanted it to be its own thing. I wanted it to look different. I wanted it to have that feel that I like so much from tile, but I didn't want it to be something that it wasn't. And so this gives you another alternative to make your home look, or your office, or your restaurant, or your co-working space, whatever the case may be, make it look special and different to your taste, make it stand out a bit, but Maybe you can't do wallpaper. Maybe you can't do something else that's a more permanent install. And this is where I'm going to show you how you can correct a mistake. So maybe instead you want something like this that is easy to fix, is easy to put up, doesn't break the bank, won't ruin your walls if you don't want to keep it up forever or you get sick of the pattern. You can take it down. See? I'm doing a lot. This is all on purpose, just to show you how you can easily fix it. Yeah, so I am currently trying to figure out what I have done here with my level line, and I think I might have, there we go. There we go, fixed it. I just wasn't seeing clearly. Anyway, so we're gonna put this on, and then we're gonna just go out to the corner on this side and end it there, because I just want to show you how easy it is to cut them down to size when you are trying to put them up on a wall that's not, you know, exactly the size of your tiles, which obviously it never is, right? So unless you're doing it in the middle of a wall where you can use the full tile space, then you're going to want to cut them, and I'm just going to show you how to do that before we leave today. So, I wish I could see you guys on Facebook so that I could answer anything or any questions. I hope you're all there. I hope I don't look too ridiculous. I hope I don't sound too ridiculous or boring. Oh God, boring. We're not having the nicest of days today in New York City. It's a little gray and dreary and rainy, so this is actually a great day to be doing this because, you know, we're not outside having loads of fun. We are stuck inside today, and what better time to do some DIY projects around the house, right? So you can see that this is wanting to stick to the transfer tape again. So when that happens, you can always just come back in with your tool and stick it back down the way it should be. Okay, so that it's not an issue. And you know, like, I may not have washed down my walls as well as I thought I did either, so that could be part of the problem today too, because it's only happening on one wall. So I'm thinking maybe that's what it was. So yeah. This is why my method works best, because you can keep it all super close to the wall, and then it's not so much of an issue at all. There you go. And we got it. All done. So you can see that the pattern is starting to form out a little bit better. And now we have this much left to do. So all you gotta see is that this is just gonna go to basically the second half. There's just so much of this part that would show, like only about that much. So there's no point in keeping it. So just gonna take my scissor and cut off the other half. If by any chance you have a wall where, say, it comes out that much, you know, where you actually do have to include enough of that half. All you have to do is take your level again, draw a line down it, so that you know exactly where to cut, and grab your scissors. It doesn't matter which side you draw the line on. Could be on the back, could be on the front. Obviously the front would be easier because you can see where you're putting it. But since you're not actually touching the vinyl on either side, it doesn't really make a difference. So here I'm just going to cut it in half. Okay. Use my coffee bar for more than a coffee bar now. It's just my station to put everything. So this is going to be the last bit up on the wall. I'm sure you're all grateful for that because, you know, it's not that exciting to watch things get put up. It's way more exciting just to see it when it's all done, right? But since we can't get there until we get here, this is what we're gonna do. So I'm just gonna correct whatever it was that I did with my level line before, that I put up things poorly. And I'm gonna visually correct it here myself. I tend to eye things a lot. Not everybody's that way. It's my way of doing things. If I was actually doing this not for a demo, I would just eye the whole thing. Maybe not the smartest of ways to go, but it's just my way. But the other thing that's really great about the tiles is that you can really just fix errors as you go. And the beautiful thing about a pattern is that if you're fixing ever so slightly as you go down, once the full pattern is up on the wall, pretty much nobody sees it. You can't actually tell. And every tiles application that I've done in my house, and even on site, I did a tiles applications on full panel walls at a trade show 2 years ago. And except for the top level line, I did everything else by eye. And I had to keep adjusting and fixing as you go. You know, tiles are made by hand. They're drawn by hand, and they're actually also put together by hand by my production team in California. So there are little quirks about them, okay? They're not perfect. They're not meant to be perfect. They're meant to feel as they are, like a handmade product. And so sometimes they're not aligned correctly on the transfer tape. You know, they're slightly off or askew. Perhaps the top starts differently than it should. You know, whatever the case may be. So sometimes you do have to adjust as you go, and that's okay. The pattern is very forgiving. All the patterns are very forgiving. And you can always just fix and go along, as I've shown now a couple of times, because nothing ever goes the way you want it to on demo day, right? It should have been, you know, all perfect, just go up on the wall the way this piece went up on the wall, no problems, no changes. No, not today. For all I know, this isn't even live now. I'm talking to myself in my dining room, and, you know, nobody's seeing this on Facebook. I don't know. Maybe. Possible. All right, so we're just going to pull this last piece off before we end the video for today. And yeah, and that one went on like a dream. So yeah, I hope you guys have seen in tiles what I do, what I really do see in this product, which is just something so fun and different, and really gives you a lot of flexibility in your home, in your space, in your workspace. You know, they can go on walls, they can go on furniture, they can go on glass doors, they can go on windows. If you're in a co-working space, they can go up on all of your glass enclosures, you know, that leave you so exposed to everybody as they walk down the hallway. They can go up on that. They stand up to steam. They stand up to cleaning. You can clean them, obviously, since I have them on the backsplash. I know for a fact I can clean them all the time. They don't come off the walls. Kids aren't going to take them down just by going past them. I have 2 children. They haven't ruined any of mine yet. They're really great. They're really sturdy. They're really flexible. You can do them anywhere and have a totally life-changing experience. Life-changing. I don't know about life-changing. Maybe life-changing is a little far. It depends on how into your home you are. For me, maybe it's life-changing. I don't know. I just, was really excited about wall decor. I don't know. But yeah, so anyway, that's it. That's our live video for today. I hope I did okay. It was really great to be able to communicate all this to you. And thanks for joining.